And
Yeah, I don't see us started.
The stream is not live.
could you refresh the page? Oh, huh.
And
Yeah, I don't see us started.
The stream is not live.
Oh, it is live. We are live, by the way.
All right, then let's get back to all right, so what we will have 4 teams demoing, and we are going to tackle this in 1 hour. So we are planning this review to last 1 hour. Of course, it depends on the questions we get, and also please keep in mind that this is the platform parts of that, so we might not or can't answer certain general Dash related questions. Yeah, with that, let me just pass it on to Maciek.
Thanks, Balázs. Hello, everyone. I'm Maciek. I'm the technical product owner of Dash platform. And yeah, actually, Balázs said everything that he wanted to announce upfront before we see the demos and the let's say verbal updates of particular team members. However, the sprint goal for the whole, let's say, Dash platform group was to deploy the testnet, a stable version of platform testnet. And this is just literally ongoing, the testnet is being deployed just during the time that we're having this meeting. Team achieved 3 DevNet deployments with a bit different versions covering other issues. Like the overall platform demo would be upheld on the dev environment, on the DevNet, and this will be covered by Sam. This time we won't be having any longer, let's say, software demonstrations. However, as Balázs mentioned, Paul from research team will provide you with an update on the fee system, concept-wise, what were the rationale behind particular concept decisions, and what benefits does it bring to potential platform consumers. So at this point, I would just like to hand it over to Sam. Hand it over to Łukasz to provide with an update on Tenderdash.
Hi. So basically, what is Tenderdash first? Tenderdash is a component of the platform used mainly by the drive to ensure that all nodes in the network see the same state. So it's a state consensus component. And right now we are in progress of stabilization of version 0.8. And this version contains mainly backport of Tendermint, which is the base, which is our upstream project. So we just forked Tendermint, and we work from there to adapt it for Tenderdash needs. And in the last period, we were working on that. So right now we have end-to-end testing switch that is not stable yet, and we are working on that, debugging issues that are there, and ensuring that the quality of the Tenderdash is high enough to do a pre-release to a development network, where we will be able to integrate it with other components and test it. And this is some future work we are doing, so it doesn't affect the whole platform release that we will discuss in details today. Because for the platform release, we will put version 0.7 of Tenderdash, which is stable and works on DevNet for some time now. So it's like ready for a release. We also worked on a component called Dash-D-Go, which is a library to interface with Dash-D written in Go. and it was mainly backport of upstream changes and some improvements implemented there. And that's it on my side, and we can go forward to protocol part.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivan, and I would like to share the current status of the platform release. Last 2 weeks, we worked on the integration with the mobile wallets and testing, fixing bugs, adjusting the configs and limits. We also updated dashboard to the recent 18 beta 4, what we already have deployed on testnet. During this period, we fixed a lot of bugs, and we had 3 iterations on our internal DevNet. Since yesterday, we are deploying the latest platform version to the testnet. But unfortunately, we're facing with some environment-related bugs, which we didn't see on DevNet and our local environments as well. And we continue to iteratively fix these bugs and proceeding. I hope in the next few days we will accomplish this work and the testnet will operate properly. Sam is going to make a demo how the new version is working with the mobile wallet, mobile library.
Yep, thank you, Ivan. So I'm Samuel Westridge, CTO at Dash Core Group. For those who do not know, I just wanted to show that, well, the system does work. The system that we have on a DevNet does work, and I just want to show that to people. So I prepared a little demo. It's not actually even that prepared. It's just on my simulator to show the system working. Let me share my my simulator for my iPhone on my computer. Can people see it?
Yep.
Yep, excellent. So this is basically an iPhone simulator. It is not the actual wallet that we have. This is like an example app that allows much more functionality, that allows the iOS team basically to debug the actual system. So right now, if you were to see, there are multiple chains here that we're currently working on. DevNet Krupnik is the one that has platform v22. So yeah, so let's start this up. I guess it was already started up, and let's go in and we can search identities, for example, on this DevNet. So let me search for something starting with, well, actually, let me first get all the usernames in the system just by pressing enter. Okay, so on this DevNet, we have these different people. ASD3, what a wonderful username. Cray, these different people. Oh, Hash Engineering, Brian Foster, you know, these Clay, Hash Browns, excellent. So like, you know, some of these queries are to the system itself. So if I wanted to search for somebody, I could just search Cray. I'm wondering if the capital will cause a problem. No, okay. So, you know, it works like Brian. When you actually think about the query that's going on right now, is it's querying the platform system with a query saying Brian like Brian and anything after that, basically starting with Brian for the username. And it's using the new GroveDB system that did not exist before, that's in v22. So this functionality did work before, but it was on the old MongoDB system that was not able to go to DevNet. So we recreated our database, and it is heavily working right now. I can also show stuff like our blockchain identity. So on this actual device, it allows for multiple blockchain identities per wallet. Let's actually make sure that, yeah, so the chain is running. I can create a new blockchain identity. Might as well call it, anybody want to figure out a name? Let's call it, I need to find a good name, Homer. And register on L2, done. The UI is very bad. I mean, this is literally just for internal testing purposes. So hopefully this will actually work. It takes like about 50 seconds to register an identity at the moment on this DevNet. Sorry. Nope. So I guess there's a problem with instance unlocks right now on the DevNet. I hadn't verified that, but I'll use the connections that have already been created. So Cray, for example, has contacts with Clay, just as how DashPay works, and you can quickly send money between them. Send like one dash to Clay, and then once one dash got sent. Excellent. Okay, well, that's pretty much the demo that I wanted to show. So thank you very much, guys.
It seems somebody forgot to cross fingers.
Let's see what's actually going on here. IS received, yes. Locked, no. Okay, so I guess we're also on changing code around instance unlocks and deterministic instance unlocks in version 18. So potentially that I might have updated the code for that, and I caused the problem with instance unlocks. Well, thanks. Let's continue. Problem with instance unlocks on this DevNet, not on testnet or mainnet. Just FYI.
Sure. All right. So, Kostya,
Yeah, sure.
can you take it from
So,
here? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Balázs. So my name is Konstantin, and I'm one of platform developers. So I would like to tell you a little bit about our current progress, what we planned, what we did. So the first thing is that now we can use BLS keys to sign string transition. We could use only ECDSA keys before, so now we can use BLS keys as well. We implemented master node reward shares data contract tests in our test suite. If you don't know, we use test suite to test the whole system together to ensure everything works as expected. So we need to have a test to ensure that everything works fine. Fear and time calculation, we will talk about it a little bit later. I will have a separate slides for it. So what's next? We started implementing identity update transition. So we will have the ability to add new public keys, to disable existing public keys, to disable existing public keys at using some data, I mean some timestamp to disable them, and that's what we're working right now. And we've added some metrics to drive to ensure we we added some timers for various block execution points, so later we can track bottlenecks if we have them in future, maybe. That's it I wanted to say.
Thank you. Sam, would you like to add anything to the fee runtime calculation, or
Yeah,
get
for
it back
sure.
to later? All right.
No, I'd like to talk about that. So the next part of V23 is heavily focused on fees. That's one of the main focuses of V23. V22, for example, was storage. V23 is fees and how we pay out master nodes on platform. Those are the two main biggest items of V23. So to that extent, I started working on fee runtime calculation. This basically means that I'm going to quickly give a very quick overview of the implementation system of our fees. There's actually two ways to calculate the fees. There's a worst case scenario fee based off of your data contract. So when you put in when you put a document to the system, let's say you add some data, you will know what is, in the worst case scenario, the cost to put that into the system. And then you will send, you will authorize basically the fee for that worst case scenario. And then at runtime, there will be a calculation to figure out what it actually cost in our system, which will always be less than the worst case scenario. And this is deterministic. It's not like in other systems where you put in a gas max amount, where the gas max amount is just what you want to pay, but sometimes it could be exceeded. Actually, in the data contract system, without smart contracts, the data contract knows the worst case scenario. So basically, you could put in like saying, "Oh, I'd like to pay a penny for this storage," or a certain amount in very, very, very small amount of dash. We're talking in the hundreds of duffs, and the fee runtime calculation will always give you back a little bit. Maybe it will only be like 60% of the total of the worst case scenario, maybe 20% of the worst case scenario, but it will, it's a way to make our fees even lower based off of what it actually costs the system. So I've been working on that, and it's going well. It was not something that was actually supposed to be finished in this sprint. It's going to take multiple sprints. So, but I thought I would talk about it a little bit at least.
Thank you.
Thanks. And with that, I will pass it on to Wisdom.
Hi guys, my name is Wisdom. I'm from the GroveDB team. This sprint, we had two major stories. The first one was to refactor how we handled storage in GroveDB. The state of GroveDB before this story was working, but then it wasn't as robust as we would have liked. Because of GroveDB had to deal with transactions manually. So that's checking if there's a transaction and then doing A or B, and that led us to keeping track of some temp versions of the state, like the temporal tree or the set of deleted subtrees.
Sorry,
and then when you're keeping track of
really just sorry, but I would like to just say that it's a database transaction and not a a transaction,
Okay, not yeah.
a database transaction, guys.
Yeah, so so we had to keep track of all these things, and when you keep track of so many things like this, it becomes easier to write bugs and also harder to fix. So that's not necessarily a good state. So we decided to refactor how we did that by abstracting away all the database transaction logic to a storage layer, which is smaller, easier to test, and will change less often. So we have a PR for this, which is currently in review. And once it has been reviewed by the team, we would merge it in and enjoy the benefits of this feature. The other story we worked on was proof implementation, the second version, to handle the recursive subqueries, limits, offsets, and the new types of range that we have added. I would say 80% of the work that needs to be done for this feature is done, and the remaining 20% will be done the first days of the next sprint. We also had to fix some minor issues during the course of the sprint. Like we ran into a bug where if you have an upper bound in a range inclusive query, but the upper bound was greater than all the keys in the subtree, it returns an invalid result because of its believes there's no key, there's no valid key, especially when you're going from right to left. So we fixed this. We also made some clippy physics just to make sure that the code base is as up to date in terms of the industry standard as possible. Then we had another bug in which when you make a query for multiple items and one of the items is missing, it throws an error rather than returning the found items, which is not the correct behavior. So we also fixed this. So that's basically it. I'll pass it on to Igor to tell you about SDK.
Thank you very much, Wisdom. Hello, everyone. So in this sprint, we finalized two long pending stories. The first one about the caching of the on-chain data for block headers synchronization, which improves performance in the SPV, in the DAPI for clients. And the second one was kind of a breakthrough for us because this pull request has been pending for about 2 months. And this is part of the bigger picture regarding the implementation of DashPay into the JS SDK. So currently we finalized a major refactoring of the storage and keychains, and it brought certain brought new requirements for the upcoming planned features. So we shall now we can freely continue to work on the SPV, introduce new features, and next thing would be to start working on the ensuring the storage persistent storage integrity, which is crucial for a quick second loads of the wallet once it has been synchronized for the first time. Also, this week we were heavily focused on the browser tests for Dash platform and SDK, and it revealed some fundamental problems which we've been facing for quite a long time. So next week, next spring, we should also put some focus into this field in order to make SDK testable in the browser environment in CI. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And pass it back to Maciek.
Yeah, thanks, Igor. Thanks, Balázs. So, few words at the end of this part of presentation, in particular about the next steps. So, V22, as Ivan and Sam were speaking, we need to reach stable platform version. So this still will need some time and some efforts, but yeah, we're just like almost there. And please remember that V23 will be the last, will be the version that is feature complete. So all missing stuff, all missing consciously postponed features and topics that should be implemented will be covered in upcoming release. And that's why we want to provide some, at least we'll try to consider some minor releases with patches. And the first round of those patch will hopefully come after like a week or two after we reach the stable testnet, and this is something that Incubator will support us. At the same time, V23 development is also ongoing. It has been started with fee system, and also with missing functional parts of identities implementation that are stored on platform. In terms of the SDK lane, it's without any changes. Still, those two focus areas are in place. And when covering other components, Balázs, if you can, have the next slide. GrooveDB proofs implementation continued, and Tenderdash, as according to what Łukasz was saying, this also Tenderdash leaves with the same objective of the DevNet pre-release with backports from Tendermint. So at this point, I will once again I encourage you to ask any questions on YouTube. I hope that after Paul's presentation, it will be the best moment to cover them. And at this point, well, I'm handing voice to Paul, which will take you through the fee system concept.
All right, thanks, Maverick. Hi, everyone. I'm Paul. I'm on the research team, and I'm going to share my screen. I put together a little summary of basically the Dash platform fee system that I've been working on the past few months. So there's two parts here. The first half is largely talking about the margin on top of the costs. So like the reward to the masternodes. And the reason I want to talk about that is because I know a lot of the masternodes owners were asking questions, and I thought that this was something they might be interested in. And then the second half, I'll talk about pretty much the cost calculations and other just general things about the fee system. So I'm just going to go down the list of the bullets here. We need to charge fees to provide incentive for masternodes to host the platform. The fees aim to cover the cost of hosting a platform plus a margin so as to make hosting a profitable endeavor. To start, fees will be set to 2 times the cost of computing and storing transactions on platform. This 2x factor will increase masternode owner revenue from providing services while simultaneously keeping transactions on platform tens of thousands of times cheaper than Ethereum. The 2x figure is subject to change at any time after launch at the discretion of the masternode owners. Every MNO as masternode owner has a say in the actual number, referring to this 2x figure. So the way that the masternodes change the fee multiplier is what it's called, is so every transaction fee is multiplied by the fee multiplier. The fee multiplier is initially set to 2 so that a fee is equal to 2 times the cost of hosting the platform when Dash equals $200. And I say $200 because all of our calculations were done considering a $200 Dash price, which is about the average is about the average it's been over the past year. Maybe we'll adjust the calculations, or we'll just adjust the initial fee multiplier at launch. Next bullet, masternode owners submit documents to a fee multiplier data contract to signal their desired fee multiplier if they wish to divert from the default value. They'll submit a document with a number, basically. Each masternode owner is allocated one doc in the contract and can update it as desired. We are discussing limitations to put in place so that new updates cannot be outside of something like 1/2 to 2 times the current multiplier, and updates that are newer as well as closer to the current multiplier will be given more weight. The reason we want to put these limitations in is because we don't want anybody, submitting a doc that says, make the fee multiplier 1,000 and, just have like an outlier skew the actual fees, and just as kind of a safeguard. And also we want to give more weight to newer updates because a lot of people, maybe a lot of people will just put something in and it'll become very outdated and not relevant to the current dash price. And then based on all the docs in the contract, an algorithm will determine the platform-wide fee multiplier. This way of handling fees supports Dash's and Web3's core value of decentralization by putting the fees in the hands of the masternode owners, while also providing a mechanism for adjusting to fluctuations in the price of Dash. Because the main source of ROI for masternodes will be the price of Dash going up due to having more platform users rather than having higher fees and less users, masternode owners will be incentivized to keep the fee multiplier relatively low. So that's it for the fee multiplier. And now onto the cost calculations, which is just another 1.5 pages.
I wanted to add something really quickly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
That we are not doing the average of all the fee multipliers, correct? We're doing the middle.
Median.
The median, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Good point.
Yeah. So if somebody would to put an outlier, it's really the middle ground that's important, of where the fee would actually be.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to please continue.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for putting that in. Okay. So cost calculations. There's 2 main categories of costs: storage and computation, each with their own subsets. Storage is by far the most significant cost for general use, and computational costs mainly provide security against attacks. Storage costs are calculated by taking the price per kilobyte of the current most popular solid-state drives, SSDs are solid-state drives, and dividing by the current average SSD lifespan, which comes out to about 1.7 cents per kilobyte per year to store on a solid-state drive, which converts to about 9 credits. We're basing calculations on SSD prices because the vast majority of our masternodes use SSDs. The equation for state storage, therefore, is as follows: data to be stored in kilobytes times time of storage in years times 9 credits per kilobyte per year times the number of masternodes. We take into account the decrease of SSD prices by charging at most for 50 years of storage. That means if you pay for 50 years of storage, that's the same as paying for permanent storage. If the price of SSDs continues to follow the same trend as hard disk drives along the years, charging for 50 years covers my friend rewrote this, so it's
Not your friend, your
not
coworker.
my
I hope.
coworker. Yeah. My coworker. The other. What it's saying is, according to the current trend of SSD prices declining, charging for 50 years covers over 99% of the price of storing permanently. Therefore, the cost to store 1 kilobyte permanently is 0.4 cents, 1 megabyte permanently $4, and 1 gigabyte permanently $4,000. And for reference, the cost to store 1 gigabyte permanently on Ethereum today is $218 million. So it's a nice discount. Users will receive a reward for deleting data using the same storage equation above, but we will probably include a reducing factor, something like 1/2. So the reward will be, we'll use the equation above, but include a factor of about 1/2 or something to incentivize the minimization of the size of the platform state and hence the storage requirements. In order to determine computational costs for Dash platform, we've decided to copy the ratios between costs set by the Ethereum network. We do so due to the extensive research that has been done on Ethereum's fees and the similarities between networks. So we'll have a base fee for every transaction, which will be about 0.02 cents, as well as a set fee for every computational step, such as retrieving an account's balance or adding 2 numbers. Very, very small, as you can see, compared to storage costs. But they're important because somebody could, include a ton of queries to retrieve an account's balance, and, it's a way of attacking the network. So it's important to include these computational fees. For V1, we will not bother calculating all computational steps for now, because until we have a virtual machine, which is in the works, it doesn't make sense to spend so much time on it right now, because it'll be a lot easier when we have a virtual machine. So for now, what we're going to do is set limitations on the sizes of documents, contracts, and queries, and only charge for the most significant computational steps, such as database reads and writes. Nodes will also store the entire history of state transitions for now until we introduce pruning. When we introduce pruning, we will also introduce an option for masternodes to host archive nodes, which will continue to store the entire history of state transitions and will be rewarded accordingly. Users may also include an optional tip as a percentage of the total fee in order to incentivize nodes to include their state transition in the next block. And then the distribution. Storage fees are distributed to masternodes over the lifetime of the data, so as to provide incentive for masternodes to keep hosting data, over the lifetime of the data. The distribution will follow a decreasing function, so that more of the fees are distributed at first, percentage-wise, and the amount declines over time until the entire fee is paid out. All other fees besides storage will be distributed immediately. And then here's just the high-level formula of basically how the fee will be calculated. It's the storage plus computational cost times the user tip minus the refund, and then everything is multiplied by the fee multiplier. So that's it. I hope that was not too boring. And if anybody, I'm happy, if there were any questions in the chat, I'm happy to answer them now or later. I don't know what the flow of the meeting is, but yeah, so that's it from me.
Thanks so much, Paul. That was really great. I wanted to stress the point that you just said before about fees are distributed to the masternode owners, to mastnodes over the lifetime of the data. This basically works by putting, let's say you store gigabyte on platform, we saw it was $4,000. You know, in our system, we're happy people storing 1 gigabyte on platform, because in the end, you know, the Mastodon owners actually get money for that action. And the money is actually distributed in such a way that that $4,000 would not be given to the Mastodon owners right away. It would be given over time, slowly, because you don't, for permanent storage, you don't actually pay for your permanent storage on a VPS forever right away. You pay it over time. So it follows about the same thing. So if you run a Mastnode for 1 month, you're always going to receive more in storage rewards than you will be paying to the VPS provider. Let's say you're storing like hundreds of terabytes of data. Well, you'll still be receiving much more than you're paying out. So it'll become a very, the more platform is used, the more the value that you will be receiving from these fees. So it will be quite an interesting thing if we ever get to terabytes. And I wanted to stress that point.
Great, thanks. So who do I pass it on to?
Yeah,
it's question time.
we are. Yeah, it is question time. It is question time. So we had 3 questions, I guess, in the chats, and the first one is, when dash to the moon? We do not know. The second was will usernames be able to be namespaced? For example, a username like sam.dcg.dash, where DCG owns / manages / controls the sub-user SAM either partially or fully.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that one.
Well, I answered it already in chat, so why don't you answer it vocally, Ivan, and we'll see if we gave the same answer.
Oh, I didn't. Sorry.
Don't look
so
at my
yeah. Okay, I promise. We planned this, but is the feature like post MVP? Technically, we have already namespaces because what you see right now in the dash play, you see only the second part, where is the name, but actually there is a top level. Since DPNS is like name service, which is not just for usernames, right, but for the domains, it's more general use. So there is a top level domain dash. So the usernames actually is already sam.dash. And right now we restricted to create the 3rd and 4th level for namespaces, but the eventual idea that you will be able to register any hierarchy of the domains, for example, for your application, and you can control the behavior of the subdomains. For example, you can restrict some letters or define some expiry period and stuff like that. So yeah, in the future, you will be able to create namespaces for applications and other entities. Sam, I think you have something to add.
No, I wanted to just to say that it was very close to what I said. What I said in text was usernames are already in namespace, so we got that in common. I said control management over namespace, however, has not yet been done. That's what you said. The difference is I said it is not yet on the roadmap. I don't think it is yet on the roadmap, but we did talk about it and we did say we were going to do it. I guess we just, you know, it was more in the back of our head and we didn't yet roadmap it.
Yeah, it's a post MVP thing, sure.
Yes. So next question.
So the next question is, I know this is a platform to build upon, and we will have usernames and queries, but besides sending payments, what real-life use cases are the queries used for?
I'll answer that one.
Please.
Unless anybody else wants to. Nope. Okay, me. So basically, you can register any contract. So it's up to the imagination of the person who wants to register a contract. Let's say you have a food delivery business and you want to put in all the different restaurants of all the cities in the United States. So you create a database type system, just like as you would have in a normal database, but in ours it's decentralized. And then you would create the specific rules for the different items, and then you would be able to query things. So let's say you wanted to use it in an app, food delivery app. Well, a user would be able to say, okay, I'd like pizzerias next to me. Well, yeah. And then you could get the pizzerias next to you from a decentralized system. So, that's the real life use cases are up to the imagination of the people that are going to write contracts.
All right, thank you. Another one came in. Sorry, joined late, but did you go over when it will be released to testnet and how the DevNet tests are going? We did cover it, but I think we can just get back to a few sentences.
Yeah, I can
Sam?
say that. Yeah,
please.
Sure. So we went to DevNet 3 times. DevNet's working against for DashPay. Testnet had a problem, and the problem has to do with the fact that there are a lot of one of the features inside of v22 was masternode identities. This actually is probably not going to be used in v22 as much as as much as it will be used in v23, but we really felt like it was a good time to add that functionality, to not add everything in v23. And in this functionality, there is a part where there's on a DevNet, we create masternodes, and then we push the system to that, and the masternodes have just been created, they're fresh, but in the testnet we have masternodes running there that have been around and maybe off, or there are many different scenarios. Maybe a masternode has gone offline, come back online. Not everything seems to have been handled properly, and it's causing some issues. So I don't think this is actually going to cause issues for much longer. A few bugs have already been fixed, and we're just in the process of figuring it out. I don't want to give dates because I've always said dates, and then they're not. They don't always pan out. But right now, there is not. Doesn't seem like there's much work left there.
Thank you. And I don't know if we can answer this question, but when tokens? That's the question.
So when tokens? Well, Ivan, what do you think? When tokens? Maciek, Ivan?
Awesome, VP. This is a great answer.
That's for sure.
Tokens in our system are not very complicated because all documents in our system are in fact NFTs. So if you're asking when NFTs in our system, well, you will be able to have NFTs. The problem is you won't be able to have non-NFTs in the first version.
And I think since we deliver virtual machine, which is our upcoming plans, right after MVP, you'll be able to create tokens with smart contracts.
Yeah, as well. But I mean, if the use case is just, hey, I'd like to create my own token in the system for a game, for example, and you want it to be a fungible token, fungible tokens are not yet going to be part of the first version. We're currently figuring out what we think is the most important after we release our first version, and so that hasn't been completely decided yet. So I can't really tell you guys when we're going to have tokens or some other features, because we're really focused right now on just getting out our first version.
But of course, you can help me with saying or stating or sharing your use cases. So if you have something in your mind that you specifically want to solve, just please share in Discord or find us in our channels, so we can gather these insights and these needs from you and use it when we decide what needs to be done next. All right. I guess we are ready. So no more questions. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing these progress with us, and see you in 2 weeks. And thank you guys listening and also commenting, questioning. Please feel free to reach out if you have any more questions in the Discord channels or in Twitter. I think the best way to just reach us in the Discord channels, the Discord servers we have, that might be the best. All right, thank you guys, and see you in 2 weeks.